Hey, welcome into day 2 here in the 7-day challenge. Hopefully you're doing well. Today we're going to be going over how to find your customer. And so putting the brakes on a little bit, everyone jump straight to find my product. Find this product idea, $100,000 product idea. Hey, I'm guilty of it. Okay, it sounds good to say, look, you find this product idea. But really, the way that I found success doing this, which is what we're trying to unveil here, the real path to profitably selling consistently on Amazon, is you have to start with a person. Because we really, despite what people tell you, when we're building a brand, we're building a great story and we're building a great personality. Okay, so that has to connect and resonate with a person. I would craft a different narrative for a brand to skateboarders than I would to rose gardeners, right? They have a different scope of what they find to be cool, attractive, offers and branding and images, everything, right? And so when we start with the person, by the way, I'm going to switch over to my computer here. I keep looking over there. When we start with a person, which is a technique that I actually learned in a book called Choose by Ryan Levesque, I recommend that today you download this on Audible. I don't have a sponsorship with them, but I do use them. Unless you're like a speed reader nowadays, honestly, lead such busy lifestyles, you're already probably carving out time to watch this program and do the things necessary. Pop the audiobook in and listen to this. You could be done, a few days worth of commuting, right? They go over some core principles of needing to start with a customer who fits 5 key pieces of criteria. Okay. And we're going to be using Google Trends to uncover whether that customer contingency of customers is big enough and their needs and their problems they're trying to solve make enough of an impact online to sustain $1 million physical product brand or digital product brand. But in the case of the book, they're more talking about digital products. But I took that information, brought it right over to ecom with physical products, and actually followed the steps in this book, and it worked for me. So I'm going to give these tips to you and kind of summarize that. Looking for 5 key things. Okay, so evergreen market, and we'll see this in Google Trends. You can actually visualize this on a graph. Is there a decline in this market? Is there an uprise in this market? Or is it evergreen? Does it just beautifully stay the same? But at the base of this, we just need to see that there are customers with a problem here, and there will be customers with this problem here next year, and there was customers with this problem here last year, right? It's not going anywhere. Stable markets where we can grow a profitable brand and count on the future of that market, not a fad market, right? That skyrockets in popularity like a fidget spinner and then dies off to nothing. You don't want to ride those volatile markets when you're building a brand. Better and safer to do it in a nice, secure marketplace that's evergreen that you can count on. They need to be an enthusiast customer. And the definition of this I've worked through with my mastermind. By the way, you'll hear me referencing my mastermind from time to time. It is my consulting that I do, right? I have an inner circle of people that I work with. It's not a course. It's just calls face to face, on like an hourly basis. But we went over the definition of this, and it's changed a little bit over the last 18 months. It started as maybe like, oh, they need to be into a certain sport and like really want to do this thing, and they need to be a hobbyist, right? They need to have this thing that they don't consider their work, and it crosses over. Like, those things are good and those fit the overall overarching definition of an enthusiast, but where we landed is they just have to care about a better option being there, right? Because if I don't care about a better option being there, I'm just going to buy the one that is the cheap Chinese option, right? I'll just sort by price, get it tomorrow, and buy it. So there has to be some attachment to the product being of a higher quality because of the fact that it brings them more joy if it's of a higher quality in some sense. Okay. And so why enthusiasts work so well is because they're passionate about receiving a better quality product to begin with. Let me give you an example. So I've been playing guitar since I was 6 years old. I always dreamed of getting an Ernie Ball Music Man. This guitar here. Not a cheap guitar. I'll say that. And no one needs a guitar this expensive. It's really fun to play. And it's me indulging in my hobby, right? I feel great thinking about buying a better option. I know it's not like you don't need it. You can play guitar and become a great musician with a $500 instrument, not $2,000, $3,000 instrument, but it feels good, right? We all know what that feeling is, even if it's for, you like going to the gym, the $20 creatine, but what's up with that $35 creatine that has this special formula and it also has amino acids? Would that get me my dream outcome sooner? When a customer has that kind of question or feeling towards a market, that's what I mean when I say enthusiast market, okay? And now it's a scale. There are more enthusiastic markets and less enthusiastic markets that may still be enthusiast markets, okay? And so it's up to you to discern the difference and analyze that customer if you think you have a good understanding of them. Maybe they're not a guitarist who's been playing since he was 6 that really wants an expensive instrument. Maybe they're not like dying to get a better option, but there's a premium bracket in that market that currently sells well and people take pride in buying a better option, okay? That would still, to me, depending on the situation, right? There might be more than just that information, but that would still apply as an enthusiast customer to me. So just to set you up for success, I figure it's important we define what we mean when we say these things. Third, they have to have a problem to solve. And that's usually what equates to search volume on Amazon or on Google. If I have a problem to solve, nowadays, I go to buy something to solve that problem or search how to fix that problem usually, right? That's what we do. And so if I go and see there's Amazon search volume for someone that is trying to, for instance, yesterday, compost starter or composting, right? That person's problem to solve is that they have a bunch of waste, vegetable waste, food waste, and they want to compost it. They're likely a gardener, right? We can immediately build a picture about this person and the problem they might have right now. Have these scraps, want to accelerate the process, turning this into compost. That's my problem, right? And so if I could give you something that would help you achieve that or fix that, then I'm solving your problem. Does that make sense? Now, here's the next one. Number 4 is they have to have future problems to solve. And this is where products 2, 3, 4, and 5 come in. There are small opportunities out there all over the internet, all over Amazon, for someone to go in, make a better option, make $5,000 a month in profit. I can comfortably say that. I find them consistently. What tends to be harder, which is where savage sellers need to prevail and need to think outside the box and need to kind of get savage, if you will, about competing, is that when you start looking into areas where you have a clear path to 2, 3, 4, and 5 as a product, a lot of the time it takes a little bit of a brute force to break through and break into some of those markets, right? Because those opportunities where there are opportunities to build brands, other people are competing with you to build a brand there sometimes. Now, with some of the criteria you're going to learn later, I actually figured out a way to get around a lot of that brute force mentality and kind of have more of a be pushed, don't pull mentality, right? Where you can guide yourself into success by looking for certain things. But future problems to solve is an important thing. My customer's journey doesn't end when they hit buy now on Amazon on my first product, okay? There'll be more opportunities to solve more other problems later, something we're looking for. So whether that's selling more products to them or selling the same product to them again, there's a future problem to solve. Problem might be, I ran out of your product. This is something that I always need. That's a good problem to have in your marketplace to solve for them, okay? And then lastly, this is kind of a funny metric, but it's called players with money. And what that means is you want to sell to people who can afford a better option. So typically this shows itself in the marketplace. If there are already more expensive options that still sell well, to me that's a good sign because it means that people are willing to spend more here, and it's a sign of customers that can afford a better option, right? We don't want to sell to unemployed skateboarders. What are we going to sell them, right? They have a skateboard, looking for a job. Hey, here's a $60 great offer for upgrading your board. Can't afford it, sorry. Right? And now nothing against unemployed skateboarders, just an example, right? So when we're picking our market, maybe a affluent golfer is like, oh yeah, sure, $60, here you go. You see what I'm saying? And so when we build our brand, it's important that we take these things into consideration. Things that might just seem like common sense, but common sense isn't so common. So those are the 5 things we're looking for. I want to move over into my screen now and show you how to use Google Trends to actually verify some of those steps. So there's a really cool trick in the book where you use Google Trends, you type in improve memory, change this guy to past 5 years. We're going to hit compare. Then we're going to add beekeeping. We're going to add another one. We're going to add leadership skills. We're going to add another one. We're going to add orchid care. Okay, cool. Check this out. What this does is it forms a reference for how big a market should be. You notice that all these markets are about the same size, and in fact they're creating a section between 25 and 75 for the most part on Google Trends that your product should fit into. So say, hey, I have an idea, right? I'm going to sell to, golf club care, and I go and see what that market size is. There's nothing there, okay? And now I wanted that to happen for a reason, because when we go to Google in general and I type golf, whatever generates after it is what's likely going to have significant interest on this chart, and see how big that is in comparison to the markets that we're using as reference size for markets that are good places to build several $1 million businesses, but not $100 million businesses, and not businesses that can never hit $1 million, right? They're right in that sweet spot, Goldilocks zone, as Ryan Levesque says in the book. Now, when we go to golf club fitting, we can see, okay, that purple line there that's correlating, we're actually starting to see we're getting up into that zone where it'd be a viable market to sell a product or a line of products that can ultimately hit 7 figures as a brand. That one's a little small, and there's a caveat. I want to teach you how to use this the right way. What do we notice about all 4 of these? None of them are products, right? Improved memory is not a product, it's a need. Beekeeping is not a product, it's an interest, it's a need. Leadership skills, a need, an interest. Orchid care, a need, an interest. So you put a need or an interest here, right? You don't do, I would never come in here and put golf club, which will be huge, by the way. I'll probably squish everything, but I would never put golf, flatlined everything we saw. That's how big golf club is in comparison to those things. But we don't put products here, we put needs and interests. Okay, it's how we judge our good way of actually judging whether there's a community of people, an enthusiast customer there. Duck calling maybe is a need or an interest, right? For duck huntermen, duck hunters, and that's too small. Whereas if I did duck hunting, need or an interest, let's see. Okay, so now actually in the off season, it's the right size. In the on season, it is way too big. So it's very seasonal, obviously, because hunting is seasonal, right? But through using this tool and putting needs or interest in here that our customers would have, and then looking and using Google as the reference of what's actually going to have search volume duck, and see what comes after that. Gear, duck hunting, validate whether the market is the right size externally if Amazon wasn't your main focus. So I want to go back to Helium 10 here for a second, show you another way of doing this. But this was just so valuable to me in the beginning because it got me out of the Amazon FBA way of thinking and got me to come over and just look more universally at markets and customer needs and interests. Because don't you think if we have a proper customer base, they wouldn't just use Amazon to search, they would also use Google. Right? And so we start to scale out of the world of products, or zoom out of the world of products, and just start viewing customers with needs more, which is where our journey has to start. We're to go ahead and open up Magnet and enter one of the terms there, beekeeping. I can search the thing I was searching on Google. Now, at the time Ryan Levesque was teaching this method and viewing it from a wider scope of things, not just Amazon, this would be a good tool and reference way to do this kind of thing. But we're Amazon sellers, we're Savage sellers. We have Helium 10. This is where we start to really see the point of this, because I can take a search term like beekeeping, we just sort it by search volume, and I could see the customer needs of a beekeeper right here. Okay, so bee suit has 16,000 search volume with a bid of $1.40. You'll start to know what that means eventually. Maybe they're also into mushroom cultivation, which could just be a similar interest. Bee suits, now we're getting into honey related things, right? For collecting honey and honey extractor. Okay, so honey extractor is a product that a beekeeper would need to own. And if beekeeping was the general market size that we wanted to go into, I can just come to Amazon and see what customers are already looking for. So I can convert customer interests of the right size into product ideas of the right size. Okay. Now, tomorrow, we're going to be going over the exact metrics you should be fitting your product to. How to identify a real opportunity. It's going to be a good day. You're not going to want to miss it. Hopefully you enjoyed today's video. As always, if you need any help, if you have any questions, feel free to reply to this email. I'm here, right? So yeah, make sure you check out tomorrow's video. It's going to be a good one. I'll see you there. Later.